call this Zoom here. So last week we had this whole constellation. Yeah, we had a breakout, right? But price did not continue that sale, which is on Thursday. On Friday, we had NFP. Price came back, created a very huge week, yeah, a very huge buy before we saw the drop, right? So we had price, even still the NFP day on Friday, we had price still coming back up, creating um, you know, we still saw buyer momentum in the market. We had a new higher high at that point. So now the way the price closed was above. We had a weak volume here, right, from Friday. So we had price couldn't create a new higher high. We had this a weak volume here already. Price created resistance level here. Another little resistance level here. We had a breakout. We had a little support here. We had a breakout. We had a pullback. There was no continuation for that, right? And this go both ways. It is very confusing actually to analyze this kind of setup on Friday. But then, since price is already creating a kind of a weak volume from Thursday, and also we've been looking to take a sell to looking at prices, clear out the what's it called, the DMS area from Friday finally fully. So we'll consider this to look for a sell, right? And I think that was the reason why we took the sell on Asian section, which was good. So now what you did was you marked up the previous New York resistance level, which was this one. I saw you mark up this one, right? So that resistance level is going to be the one that if price should break above that level, or let's say we have another one above here, right? We have another resistance level above here. So the previous high. So it also known as the previous New York resistance level, right? So now, since you're trying to take the Asian setup kind of setup, and you're trying to and that move was about 70 pips if we like to calculate it from where you took the entry from, right? So this was your entry. Right, let's say you have a 2-5 position, 25, and what you're targeting was 100 pips, right? And 100 pips. Let's say this is 100 pips here, 1 to 3.9 reach to reward ratio, if I'm correct. So almost 1 to 4. This is 1 to 3.97 reach to reward ratio, almost 1 to 4, which is good, right? So we saw how the price came back during the Asian session, created support, a resistance level below a little bit, and also price break this level of support, but we had a pullback again inside the Asian section, right? Price rejected that area first again the second time before we see the drop going into the London section. So in this kind of case, I would probably, let's say for instance, I'm trying to hold the trade. I saw something when you uploaded the chart at that time, but I didn't want to mention it because I want you to be able to take your personal decision. And I'll ask the question, I would ask to understand what kind of decision you made when you started seeing price pushing up. Did you make any kind of decision, or were you holding the trade? So what did you do around this area here?
When the price was rejecting, I moved my stop loss to break even.
A break even. Okay.
Yeah.
At least you secure something, right?
Yeah.
Which is good, right? So next time, for me, I feel like when you see a weak volume like that, taking partial might probably be something. If you're not really sure about the trade, taking partial first of all and put a break even, so that you know that okay, you've secured at least half of the half of the profit. And besides, there was a kind of a weak volume at this point, looking at 5 minutes time frame, because at 15 minutes time frame, it will probably look like the price trying to create a pullback. But though we have these little wicks, so all those little wicks you see there on a lower time frame, they are actually a resistance level that was broken above. So let's say, for instance, look at this huge buy candlestick, right? After this whole week here, we saw price coming back up. So what will we this week here, this whole price closing above this this is a resistance level here. Looking at those other lower time frame, those are resistance level, right? We had a pullback. So after the pullback, we saw price rejecting, probably did not continue to sell at this point, right? So we'll consider place as a weak volume too. But then most of the time, you pretty much want to wait to see what the market is going to do. So there's some kind of trade I used to talk about. Some trades are to have experience. Some trades are to be able to make decision and take your profit. While you're trying to make experience in the market and gather a lot of experience, those experiences going to expose you to risks. You understand? And that's why it's good most of the time to set the BE and go with the experience, absorb with the experience. Don't cut the trade short, right? So it's very good sometimes to go with the experience. But though at the same time, just for you to have a sense of progress, it's also good to make a very kind of calculated decision at that moment, knowing that, okay, you know what, I want to go for the experience. Also, let me just go for what, partial profit and let the rest run. That would be good, right? And this is what about, let's say you had an entry. I think you had an entry around this area here, and this was about 73 pips. Trust me, people do a lot on this amount of pips you caught, you understand? People do a lot with the amount of pips you catch, you understand? So don't sleep on it. So right now, let's look at what the market is probably going to do this week. But before then, something came to my attention, which was last week when you guys asked a question. I think this was what was it called? This was Victor asking the NFP. So the NFP, I probably want to talk about it because this is in your book and I want you to go through those things. You understand? You would understand that we have how many times the FOMC, the interest rate plays out every year. I think the FOMC for the USD is 8 times every year. So when you go through your notes and go through your book, these are personal, research you want to do for yourself, when it comes to that, right? So those NFP, it's the first, the first Friday of every new month, right? And not just the first Friday of any, it's very, very volatile. And it is very volatile because of it is based on the employees and the employer payroll. So it is very volatile. Make your research more on that. There is more to that too. Make a research on that too. After you read your book, you go through it on the book, not just only the book on, make a research to personality for that. And that's how you learn more. And I don't want you to have a sense of, you just want to come here and trade all the time. So, and also to add something to it, last week we talked about something, and there's something that happened here, and that came to my attention too. After this whole drop for this NFP, actually, when you ask a question about this NFP, I saw something, and I said, most of the time this news actually is not to go against you. Like I said, it's like to just finish your move, and which actually, if we can talk about this, though we are hopefully this was a breakout, but there was no continuation, which realistic, anything can happen in the market. This whole action here, even after the whole drop, this actually finished our move. Yeah, it does, right? It actually created a new higher high that same very day. So now let's say, you need to understand what that week is going to do too sometimes, and you need to understand the market structure. That's why I said higher time frame is very effective. Like looking at higher time frame, looking at the whole week or the whole month, what the whole month is going to do, what the whole week is going to do, so you can have a sense of, I'm looking for a day. I think you need to wait for a particular day, or not just particular day. When you see a particular setup, you want to be able to, let's say, okay, you have a 2 position, leave one for swing to see what the market is. Hard sometimes, right? Because sometimes day traders can be addictive and just take a profit within the range of 24 hours. So most of the time you want to be able to you know what, let me just use one position and look at what the market has was for the week. And you can also capitalize off the run, just you know what, now I know that it's probably going to be a trend for this week, just like, let's say, last week too, right? Last 2 weeks, not last 2 weeks, sorry, before we had this reversal, before we have this whole accumulation phase and a breakout, right? So what happened here, we had this whole sell from what last 2 weeks, which is on the 28th of May, we had a share session started dropping. But before then, we had a promising DMS. A promising DMS, knowing that normally bullish is still active at that time. So this is going to be like a promising DMS, creating an opportunity for a future buy, right? So now we're just going to look at it as a promising DMS because at this time on Tuesday, 28th of May, price actually did not create a new higher high at that point, right? There was no new higher high at that point. So there was no new higher high. We saw how the New York session closed on that day on Tuesday, and before we started seeing drop, right? So now this was a promising one because at that moment, if you were in the market, you can see that all my target was hopefully this area is going to get clear hopefully until price started creating a word. Until I think on Thursday, I started seeing the differences in the market because price started creating a DMS area. So I started going, with the sell instead of trying to force the buy at that moment. And which on Friday, we actually caught this whole sell too. And on Friday, same on 31st of May, and we saw our price reverse that same day. And what happened on Monday, we had a break drop, and we saw our price started trending since then, right? And hopefully this all promising DMS actually eventually get cleared out. So what we saw here now is this week we probably might see a sell. I think sellers are still gonna come in this week. So for we to be able to analyze that, are you guys paying attention? Like, are you guys with me?
Yes.
So let's see. So looking at the weekly time frame, this is a daily time frame actually. We had a BOS price, this whole bullish candlestick information closing above, right? Closing above this area. Closing above this resistance level, creating a new high. So at this point, what we should consider this area is we should look at it as a what. This is gonna be a break of structure. We had price creating a pullback at that, right? Price creating a pullback, kind of pullback, but then price has been rejecting this level that was broken above. So what does this mean? So probably might see continuation of that buy, but then we still have a kind of, let's look at 4 hours time frame because 4 hour time frame, let's come down to weekly time frame. Let's look at our weekly time frame. Looking time frame 2 as a BOS, so you can see that area was being marked. But it's on a weekly time frame, it's actually a week, and we'll probably see price rejecting that area. So what will happen is let's come down to 1 hour time frame and let's see if that does make sense. So now we have 4 hours time frame here. 4 hours time frame still look much bullish because we haven't seen price. We have a breakout actually, which is this structure here. We have price trying. It's creating a weak volume. Price could not like break above this whole highs here. But this kind of highs, I don't really like it. I don't really like this kind of highs at this point. But let's see what 1 hour time frame look like now. So 1 hour time frame, we have a DMS, Asian DMS, right? So we have a previous New York we marked up here. So for me, I feel like price will probably just wanna like okay, now on 15 minutes time frame it's kind of different. So we still need to see that this whole Friday low we have, since price is bullish, right? Price created a new higher high here, right? So what happened here? We need price. Price does not clear out this whole previous week low, meaning on Friday low, right? So this is going to be our previous New York support level. So price does not actually clear that level for us to have, you know what, this whole sell is authentic at this moment, right? So price is ranging in between them. Though if you were able to catch this trade, it's nice. You'll be able to catch this amount of pips. But sometimes, like, this is not also a full confirmation of the whole sell. So now we have a DMS support level here, right? So we also have a stand DMS here. We also have a Asian DMS here, right? So now, who is in control? That should be the question. Who is more in control right now? That should be the honest question at this moment, right? right? Who is in control right now? So let's look at 4 hours time frame. Now, for me, I feel like buyers are still in control at this point, right? So let's looking at daily time frame. Buyers are still in control, right? We haven't seen a distribution phase for you to have a full identification of a reversal. This is not a, though we can catch a pullback on weekly time frame, but that doesn't mean the trend is going to like be trending for some time. So now let's come back to 15 minutes time frame, right? For looking at 15 minutes time frame, we have this high level here. So what I think price will probably do on Nasdaq today is we'll probably see continuation of that buy. But then I still want price to clear out this old EMS low at this point, right? So price is to clear out this old support level, knowing if this resistance EMS did not get cleared out right at this point, we might likely see price sell a little bit, clearing out this support EMS for buyers to come in fully, right, to clear out it. So you can see how the candlestick is closing at that moment. We might likely see a drop, but then this is not actually a confirmation for us to know that, oh, the drop is in the market. But with that being said, I'm not here to like execute any trade yet because I have not seen anything. So the thing is that I wanted to talk about these and I mentioned about the RSI and how I was going to tell you guys how I use it. So if you don't have it on your chart, this RSI is not actually really something major, right? It's not actually really something major, but most of the time you will use it as a confirmation for you to see where the market is going. So for me, I feel like I use it mostly on higher time frame because it's more effective at that moment. Like let's look like 4 hours time frame at this moment. Okay? So we had a price selling at this point, but though price has been looking like a sell, but price was not actually selling because right now. So because you are looking at this RSI because you saw a red indicator, meaning you are open to sell, bro, that would not work because you still need to look at market structure. So now at this point here, price get to a level whereby price could not create a new higher high, right? So what happened here after price created a weak volume at this point, price could not create a new higher high. And don't forget, this ORSI has been showing us like, oh, sellers is going to sell for some time, but then we don't really know. So like, we have different type of trend. We have short-term, medium, and long-term trend. So most of the time, the market do range without a clear direction. So now you still want to know who is in control. So at this point, buyers are in the control, but though this high was not getting cleared, which was on the 23rd of May last month, right? So we saw price started selling from 28, I think 27 or 28th of May, right? Which is on Tuesday. So what happened here? We saw this sell, right? But before we start seeing the buy comes in, we had price, but coming back. What we saw our price showing oversold at this point. So this RSI is just like an indicator to show you where price has overbought and oversold, but it's not actually a confirmation for you to take an entry, right? You just want to see who is more like having the power at that moment. But then your high is more important to know who is in control more, like looking at the trend itself, accumulation phase, breakout, and distribution phase to really see, okay, who is in control more. So looking at this at that moment, we also have a confirmation of a target. We have a DMS low support here that was actually cleared, but price started buying back, right? Which actually happened that day, which was on Friday, right? So now at this point, you can just go on your indicator if you want to add this to it, but actually it's not necessarily you actually need it. But I'm just trying to show you guys, like, it's the name of the indicator is SM Ultimate RSI, and this is like indicator I started using from the day I started learning how to trade by myself. I just go on indicator and search this, and since then I've been using it. But I see that it's more effective looking at it on higher time frame is more like kind of effective for me. And looking at this, you can see when price oversold at some point, price has been looking at oversold, though you can catch the sell, but you might not know like if the sale is gonna last for some time. But at the same time, looking at market structure, this is a good example of accumulation phrase, right? So that doesn't guarantee you to what sell for a long time. You still need to understand your risk to reward ratio and what your risk appetite. So with that being said, I just use it most of the time on higher time frame to see like to use it as extra confirmation, right? And once I see a indicator like this, one thing I want to do is I want to see if price is creating a weak volume once we see oversold or overbought. So now at that moment, if price is creating a weak volume, I still need to see, okay, price creating the three consecutive higher highs and a higher low, right? But then on daily time frame like this, if I see something like this on daily time frame, I probably might not wait for the higher highs and higher low, the three consecutive, because on 4 hours time frame or 1 hour time frame, it might have played out like the accumulation phase might have played out on 1 hour time frame. So instead of me to wait for daily time frame, because I would need to wait for this full breakout, I would go to 1 hour time frame and cash the entry as early as possible. So now that's how I use it. I'll share it with you guys on what's it called. You can search it on your what's it called indicator. But actually, what I use it for is just like extra confirmation. Other than that, it's pure key zone and looking at the previous day and marking out the previous day to see what the market has done the previous day, knowing the price reaction, like knowing that, looking at market structure. So it's just full market structure, right? So now let's come back and let's see how the price is doing at this moment. So I feel like right now we need the market to actually really breathe for us to be able to predict anything at this point. So, but with that being said, how is the okay now? Like we're still fresh. This is a new week. Let's see how it goes though. Is there anybody with question though?
I think I'm clear. I just need to go through the classic again to understand especially the RSI.
Okay.
But like, so I just want to ask a quick question.
Okay.
Like, for example, why going through the book? I saw that like when buyers are in, there's a particular point there's a particular point. I don't know if it's 36 or 40 at the RSI. That is, the price will be above before you know that buyers are in.
So yeah, like full buyers. And so looking at your right hand side here, this is the point you're talking about, the 30 and the 70, right?
Yes.
So red
Yes,
and green. So we have the 30 here. So the 30 is if price has oversold, if price has really sold, I've sold for some time. And when the price crosses this 30, it means price has oversold at that moment. So you want to look at the market structure also to be able to have a judgment of what is the structure giving you to, because you won't just look at the RSI alone. Most of the time you probably still see the RSI in the market is still selling. So now let's look at this right now. Look at this, RSI is giving us oversold already, but looking at since when the price is giving us overbought, sorry, not oversold, right? But then price did not actually really set. Price kept pushing up, creating a new higher highs. We just kept melting up, right? So you still want to know at that moment to understand where you are in the market after you use the RSI to make a judgment. So you still want to look at the market structure to use that as an extra confirmation, right? So yeah, if I answer the question properly, And you should also look at it.
Oh, yes, yes.
And look at the ebook. You will see the 70 and the 30, and the middle is I think it's 50 or so. When price is around the middle, meaning price and market is ranging at that moment, right?
It's ranging.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So when price is below 30, it means price has over what sold. And when price is above 70, it means price has over bought.
Yeah.
So now, just not because price has overbought. Some of the time, what we see here is that after price show this overbought, right, oversold, sorry, what would happen is this is the kind of pattern usually you're going to see. So price has been selling, getting a higher, lower high, and then a lower low, lower high, and a lower low. So you get to a point when you see price started creating a weak volume, it means the RSI also might likely have an indicator of buyer coming in. So let's say we have a breakout at this point. Most of the time, you want to wait for that pullback. It's not just because you see the RSI, you just take the entry. You need to wait for the pullback to come to the extreme low to see at that moment. So now, let's say we have a break of structure. Doesn't mean you should just take the entry after the structure is being break. You still need to wait for that pullback rod and a full confirmation for you to be able to cash the trade, understand, to take the entry, right? So that's just it. So we should look at it on 5 minutes time from this scenario here, right? Let's look at this on 5 minutes time frame. So 5 minutes time frame, it's, you can see we have this over so at this point price started creating a very weak volume. We saw price buying back. So on lower time frame, it's kind of I like to use it more on higher time frame, so if I may say, understand. But then also do a back test on it for you to be able to see what I'm talking about, because I might probably tell you, and if you don't back test on it, you might probably get confused at the same time. So now, let's say for instance, now looking at this RSI here, price is giving us what overbought at this point, but it doesn't also still look like price has given us full confirmation to sell at this point, right? So you still need your market structure, the DMS areas, to use that to be able to judge with those things as extra confirmation too, right? So they are let's say the RSI is just like ingredient that is not actually really needed in the food. You understand? Like, it's not actually really, if we take out the ingredient, let's say if we take out onions among the ingredients we use to make our food, we're still gonna eat it, like you're still gonna feel the flavor. So it's not actually a must stop, you understand? Like, you need it. You still can also take trade. Most of the time we've taken trades that is just pure charting, not just because we're looking on RSI. So right now the reason why we're looking for price to actually clear out a buy and sell is because we want this DMS low to get clear out, which is what we like to look at, right? So now let's say this, from this to this is going to be about, let's say fully is going to be about 50 pips, and we'll probably see price rejecting this area. So we want to see our price is going to create weak volume. If you are to take trade, we want price to see our price is going to create a weak volume in this area, right? So, but mind you, too, we probably might still see breakout whereby price might probably create a new resistance that is forcefully don't want to break above this resistance level. So what I mean is that we might see something like this. So price might create a break of structure and come back and create a new resistance level and reject this area multiple times, right? So now, and we have seen this kind of scenario before, right? And before you know it, price started creating a downside turn. So now, so we have seen this this scenario a lot of times. So we still want to see how this candlestick formation is closing, and scenario of that are like let's say we have one here. Okay, so now let's say we have one here, but this one we are open to buy. Don't forget this setup at this day. We are open to buy, open for price to sell first to come take this low, but that did not happen. We saw price started rejecting that area. We had price creating the support level. Price did not actually break the level we want, right? So price actually started getting the support level. But this is actually kind of different because actually price created the support level during the New York Open already, right? So after we had a break of price breaking above, we saw price actually not breaking the low, that is the New York low at all, before we saw the push to the upside. But I think there is a very good example on this kind of setup here. Oh yeah, so this is the kind of this is no, this is not the kind of setup actually. Okay, so now this setup here, price created a weak volume, we had a price breaking a big volume, but this is kind of different because actually price created a resistance level already in the New York session. So we had price breaking out this DMS level before we started looking to sell. We had this whole setup that day, right? But now looking at this one is kind of different since we had to buy. So what we need for here now, since we have to buy right now, what we need is we want price to clear out this low first before it clear this one. So price need to clear out this low, leaving this promising DMS for us. So you understand what I mean? So we need price to clear out this low first of all, not this DMS here. So price needs to come down and clear out this one here for us to have a promising DMS. You understand what I mean? Because when price is selling, if price is to sell, what would happen? We would want price to clear out the DMS first before we take the sell.
Before selling,
yeah. Understand? We want price to clear out the DMS first before selling. So now, since we are to buy, we want price to clear out the DMS below, leaving a promising DMS for us for you to take a buy. Like, are you following up? Like, Paul, the way you sit down and they follow up.
Yeah.
So, like, what about you, Manu? Like, you get with Charlie talk?
Yeah.
Okay, so now we need to wait for those candlesticks to form inside that section. So we don't really want wash, say just because now price. Now we see price now got to reject this level. So meaning price has been rejecting this area here. The first touch, the second touch, candlestick has not closed below. So we need price to really drop to clear out this low for it to take a buy as a full confirmation. If that did not happen, I would probably not take the trade. I probably will not take the trade. So if that did not happen, what would I be targeting is I'll be targeting to reject this level here, right? This one. Yeah. So what happened here is that I'll be wanting price to come touch this previous high for sell. You understand what I mean? So if that did not happen, if price should start breaking new highs, creating a new high, I want to see how price is going to reject this previous New York resistance level. So if price should close below this previous resistance level, or let's say we have one here and price started creating a resistance level below, already breaking above this DMS. So what I'll be wanting to do, I would want to sell at that moment, at least even if it's going to be 100 pips target, I would want to sell at that moment, right? And also, but probably see price still what creating highs, new highs from there. So anything can happen, but we still want to stick on our strategy. So let's just wait, you understand, and see how the market is going to do. We have 1 minute more for this call to end, and if it ends, I want you guys to just look at the chart and just follow it up from there. But I hope you guys understand the whole concept, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good, man. So whatever it is, just follow up. If you have any question, write me up in the chat.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks so much. And I think there's no other resistance DMS. It's just today's own.
Yeah.
All other.
Yeah. That's correct. There's no other resistance DMS at this point because price has already created a high. So what we want this to get cleared. You understand? Even if we